Let's talk about the background. You can see it in my layers panel down on the lower right. Number one, you can only have one background, if you even have one, because you don't have to have one. Number two, it will always be at the bottom. You could have 1,000 layers, and if you're looking for the background, just get in the elevator and go to the bottom floor, and there it will be. Number three, you can't move elements inside the background. So if I come over here and say, well, I think I want to move this, and I grab and drag with my move tool, nope, you can't do that. You say, well, why not? Well, it says it's locked. Now, if I come down here, you will notice that my blending modes, opacity, fill, and locking mechanisms are grayed out. So it's not a question of, well, just come down here and unlock it. It's a question of I can't unlock a background. Now, if I click on a layer, all that stuff lights up. But the most important thing to remember about a background is that it does not support transparency. You can't erase to transparency. So if I come over here and pick up, say, my eraser tool, and I'm going to change the two colors at the bottom down here, I can click this little button right here and reverse them. Press the letter X on your keyboard. It's a lot easier. The default is black and white. If I come over here and begin erasing, it doesn't look like anything's happening because the background color just so happens to be the same color as the background swatch on my toolbar. And we can change that if you want to. But if I come up here, since that's not white, well, you're erasing. No, I'm not. I'm painting. I'm going to press undo, my favorite key in the whole world, Command or Control, Command on a Mac, Control on Windows, and the letter Z. When you're working with an eraser tool on something that does not support transparency, it's got to do something, and it uses the background color. Now, to prove that point, I'm going to press the letter X and reverse, and then you can see I'm now actually painting with the color black. That's a background. Now, the frustrating thing about using a background might be the fact that you want to do something and generate transparency. If you want to, all you have to do is rename the background. Double-click on it and rename. But let's do it this way. Go up to the word File on the pull-down menu and go down to Browse in Bridge. Let's go into this one right here. Double-click. Now, we'll go through the raw plugin, but that's fine. If yours doesn't say White Balance Daylight, go ahead and change that. But that's all we're going to do. Click Open Image. I did not know that bird was there when I shot that photograph. This is on a background. Understand something. Most photographs, especially from digital cameras, when you open them, will be on a background. We're going to talk about selection later. But I want to select that sky, get rid of that sky, so I can replace it with a prettier sky. So I'm going to come over here and pick up my Magic Wand tool. Magic Wand tool has all kinds of settings that you can see up here. Tolerance is the most important one. It's set to 32 right now. For the purposes of what we're doing, since we're going to talk more about this later, just think the higher the number, the more it selects based on the area you click in, the lower the number, the less. So if I come over here and click, pretty big piece when you look at it, I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and I'm going to click in here. Shift key means to add to the selection. Now look at that. I got everything I wanted, except I do want this area right here too, so I'm going to Shift click on that. Now this is not a perfect selection. And you'll notice the bird being darker is not selected. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to pick up my lasso. You can switch between selection tools. I'm going to hold down the Shift key again and just draw a circle around the bird and select the bird. You say, okay, wow, cool. I'm going to delete this area and I'm going to put in this really fantastic sky with white clouds and blue sky and the sun, all kinds of cool stuff. And you press the delete key. That's the backspace key on a Windows keyboard, delete key on a Mac keyboard. And you get fill. I don't want fill, I want to get rid of stuff. So you come over here and you say contents. Okay, so it must be here, and it isn't. You got foreground color, background color, choose your own color. I love content aware. Pattern history, black, 50% gray, or white. And you don't want any of those. You want transparency. So you get out of here and try to figure it out. And like I said, all you have to remember is convert the background into a layer by double-clicking and giving it a name. So you come over here and you double-click. Now it's going to say new layer. If you call it the background layer, that's incorrect. It's just the background. We don't need to change anything on color mode or opacity. We could give it a new name if we wanted to. You don't have to. Layer 0 is a name. Click OK. Now, the only significant thing that changed is all my options lit up. My opacity, fill, locking mechanisms, normal. Now I'm going to press delete. I get transparency. It's what I wanted all along. Backgrounds are there for a reason, because we flatten images out sometimes to support certain formats we save them in. Like JPEGs don't support transparency or multiple layers, at least most of the JPEG formats. But just remember, if you have one and you want to do things to that layer that are beyond just painting on it, convert it. Now let's go ahead and close this. We don't need to save it. And let's go ahead and move on.